no veas, a Sevilla. Y al último que cuando ya salió la bien de regla.
It is Tuesday on Raid Shadow Legends, but you knew that. First off, 2026. God, what's next? 2027? Anyway, I was going to make this yesterday, but didn't find time for it, regarding the buffs upcoming for Solus and Roxanne. I'll put them on screen for you to have a look through, or if you can't bother doing that, then you can just take it at face value when I say that they're better, but they're not meta. Oh well, not everyone can be Siegfried, right? And speaking of Siegfried, yes, he's on the thumbnail. Yes, I was talking about him. But what else we're going to be doing here is we're going to have a little fun regarding looking at some other champions who over the years have been buffed to whatever significance they hold within the game now, but also go over how they used to be, which makes many wonder, why were they released like that in the first place? What were you expecting to happen? Now, this is all from memory for myself, so if I'm a little bit wrong on some details, then do let me know, but I'm pretty confident in a bunch of this. So, starting off, we're going to go all the way over to Black Knight. Now, Black Knight is one of the oldest legendaries in the game, and he was, in some ways, worse than rares. So, originally, Heavy Blow had a provoke chance that skilled off his current HP percentage. So if he was full HP, it'd be 100% chance to provoke. If he was low HP, it basically would not land it. Last Breath, much like Heavy Blow, skilled off his attack stat and not his HP stat. A lot of old HP champions did that for some reason. The HP roll meant just that they had higher HP on average and didn't actually mean that their damage scaled off that. And Lower Visor placed the small version of increased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. So it was a laughably bad skill. He's been updated a while ago. They haven't really looked at him since. I think his buff was back in 2021 or something, but he's a pretty prominent example of, what were you hoping he was going to achieve at first? Next is going to be Teela Gormain. Now, Teela Gormain has been buffed twice to my recollection, or it might have been just been the once, but the first one didn't do much. But originally, Hexdrinker Scimitar only stole one buff from a target. It didn't have a chance of stealing a second one. Pyre Strike, this originally only attacked a single target for the HP burn and didn't give continuous heal buff on any of your team. That's all it was. Single target HP burn, 3-turn cooldown, 2-turn duration. That was all Legendary did. And Life Worm, this was attacks enemies, puts heal reduction on them, nothing else. Now it's Leech and Hex, which are much more useful for Hydra, etc. Although we've had some rather interesting HP burners ever since. So she was useful for a fair bit for progressing accounts, but she's not exactly on the high-end teams. Also, her speed stat used to be 92 or 91. Because back then, a lot of champions were laughably slow. To see some that had speed stats below 90 was not an uncommon sight. Like, Solus, who's just been buffed recently, announced his buff, he used to be 86 speed. If we go over to Solus, he hasn't been updated yet. Where is he? I do have him. Now he is 97 speed. I mean, I suppose 87 speed made sense at first, given how he is quite a bulky guy who doesn't seem like he'd be moving particularly fast, but the novelty wore off pretty quickly when you realized how difficult it was to get him to have any kind of respectable speed in battle, when he is over 20 points of speed shy of many of the champions in the game. Mostly supports, because, support's an interesting role like that. And then, for those who are thinking, cover Siegfried, God, I'm doing it now, like, have a bit of patience, you're like 35 years old on average. So, Siegfried was one of the first 5 mythicals in the game, and was printed back when there was much of a science to the design for mythicals in general. Garrel is still waiting for buffs. It's been how long now, and she's still just depressed as shit. Okay, so originally, all of Siegfried's damage multipliers were significantly worse. This nowadays is 6x attack. It used to be 5. And it also did not have this ignore 30% defense at all. So he did basically no damage whatsoever. And on his ult form, this only gave block damage for 1 turn on release. I still feel that in PvE settings, he should be able to ult form at will, and the Metamorph button only doesn't work on his main form in arena setting, but that's something they're never going to change about him because, you know, Siegfried's more than good enough already. Next is going to be Ignatius. Now, Ignatius is a very old champ that still hasn't been buffed. Really, like, at this point, I feel he's so far behind that they just ignored him because there's no way to make him even slightly relevant. Okay, anyway, next is going to be Jingwon. Now, Jingwon is another of those Void Legendaries that has been buffed twice, and his original form was miserable. So, first off, A1 Doom Exchange. This transferred a single debuff from him to the target. Just one. Then they made it so it transfers all of them, and now it also, and then they changed it so now it has a 50% chance of stun. Next was A2 Compound Calamity. This was a single target that increased the debuff duration by 2 turns on a 2-turn cooldown, but it only placed block actives on them if they were under decreased accuracy or decreased crit damage, no other time. Then here's A3 Power Flare. At first, this was just attacks enemies twice. The first hit places decreased accuracy, the second place decreased crit damage, and the strengthen. However, it did not buff strip at all. So back then, it was literally a worse version of Whirling Frost King's A2. And Whirling Frost King was already considered to be very weak. And Whirling's A2 doesn't check accuracy. This does. So, yeah, the only thing he got was the strengthen on himself. And yeah, that's to say, it was only on himself back then. Now it's not all allies. And then his passive, Unchained, it only gave him a passive effect. The active effect did not exist until his first buff. By his second buff, he already had it. That was when they changed Power Flare and, well, all of his actives in general. But back then, he was... yeah, I don't know what they were thinking apart from, let's add one more Void Legendary to the pool. That means people aren't getting Rarity or Safety. And speaking of Voids who existed for that use, there was Physics the Unbound. Or as I remember Heidi Boy saying once, "Oh no, it's Physics!" Because, yeah, they took the Dead Parrot defense of, oh, she's a free champion, a little bit too far. Originally, her A1 only stole turn meter by 10%, now it's 15%. This placed a shield based on damage dealt instead of the ally protection, and the ally protection was moved over to the A3, but this was just a single target provoke on a 3-turn cooldown, and then it was ally protection. So she's provoking one person, then placing ally protection on her team. So yeah, she was like laughably bad. Again, I've said it like 4 times now, but it's like you can't even try and assume that was incompetence. It was just straight malice. But that would never happen. Plarium has always had a player's best interest in mind. Right? Okay, and the last one, and this is one where if I get this wrong, you can actually check because they still exist in game, and that is martial art. Original martial art was laughably bad. His A1 was just attacks for enemy, heals by 30% damage inflicted. This part, the attacking people on the leech, didn't exist. A2, this placed increased speed and increased crit rate on himself and one ally. That's all it did. The True Fear and Leech part didn't exist. It still gave an extra turn, because otherwise it'd be a skill about as bad as Hill Nomad's A2, Nomad Resilience. Rare Barbarians, go check out yourself. And then the A3 didn't place his continuous heals, didn't place heal reduction, didn't steal buffs, just did 50% more damage if they did have buffs. So, actually, let me check, because the old martial art is still in the game, as I just said, you know, in case you don't believe me. Okay, so Chronicles of Narbuk, Chronicles. And we can see this now. So yeah, that's all that did. That's all that did. Oh, it did place heal reduction. Ah, see? That's why I checked. And you were not good back in the day, were you? Get out of there. Now, I know you're probably going to mention, oh, Old War Chief as well, but actually, the War Chief in campaign is actually different to the War Chief that was in the game that then got buffed a while ago. Which I suppose in a way made sense, because back then his A2 was a 2-turn provoke and a 3-turn cooldown. Now in campaign that was fine because he has 0 accuracy, but otherwise a 2-turn provoke and a 3-turn would have been very strong back then. So yeah. Yeah, that silence usually means that the video's about to end. You could tell by the bar at the bottom almost being entirely red. Because, yeah, that's been some of them. Now, there's obviously been plenty of us who weren't in a very good shape. Ones who are also still pretty much not very good afterwards. You know, like Larashia Great, who many of the others that they've done small changes to, but I want to just bring up a handful of them, because otherwise you have too long, you get bored and click it off, and well, click off the video, and there's no point me even saying in the first place. So yeah, that's everything, and we're done. So see ya.